Now, gemrate.com puts out a report every month. I suggest you go to gemrate.com, sign up for the subscription, it's free, and they'll send you that newsletter like the second of every month, basically, when they tally it all up and make a report out of it and shoot it out to you. It's really cool. It's really interesting to read because they give you kind of the details of the past month for each grading company, especially the main ones specifically. And it's not just for sports, it does do the TCG uh, cards as well, Pokemon, all that stuff. So it's a good thing to sign up for if you're into card collecting. But today, we're talking just sports cards today, the top 15 graded sports cards of all time. I'm going to go through the top 15, each one individually. We'll talk about them a little bit. But at the end, I'm going to go through the entire report, the top 100 cards that have been graded all time. Now, I've pared it down. I took out all the non-sports cards. So it's really just the top 87 graded sports cards of all time at PSA. And I'll go through that report at the end, and we'll talk a little bit about the interesting little nuances about this report, little things that are interesting. I also want to mention that I'm going to be doing videos for baseball, basketball, and football specifically, all broken out, the top graded cards for each of those sports. And then I'm also going to do one that's just on Michael Jordan alone, his airness and all of his graded sports cards. We'll talk about that in a separate video, basically. Now, even if you aren't into graded cards, this is still interesting to you because it'll give you an idea of the popularity of some players or some cards over other cards. It'll give you a little idea of which cards you should be wanting, even if you're not going to get them graded. So let's get right into this right now. The number one graded sports card of all time, you already know it. I've done a video on it already. It's the 1989 Upper Deck Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card. It's a star rookie card. We're looking for this hard in the pack extravaganza and did not find it. But it is one of the all-time greatest sports cards ever, one of the most iconic, along with maybe the 52 Mickey Mantle. There's a few, the 86 Fleer Michael Jordan, but this was definitely the most iconic modern baseball card for sure. And number two, we're going right back to Ken Griffey Jr. This is the 1989 Topps Traded set. Now, if you recall, Upper Deck beat Topps to the punch to get that Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card out there before Topps did. Topps left it for the Topps Traded set. He wasn't expected to make the Mariners roster on opening day, and Topps held it back, and then they ended up having to put him in the Topps Traded set, which I believe was the only way you could get that traded card was if you bought the whole Topps Traded set. So that made his 1990 Topps card a lot more attractive. People were more excited to get that one because it was the first one I think you could open up and get in packs, if I'm not mistaken. And number three, of course, you know this card with all the stripes, the 1989 Fleer Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card. So the top three cards on this list are all Ken Griffey Jr. rookie cards. Number four, 1985 Topps Team USA Mark McGwire card. This was that kind of, when I was a kid, this was the card I was really trying to get. I really love this card a lot. That whole 1985 set is jam-packed. Roger Clemens, rookie. Kirby Puckett, rookie. Oral Hershiser, rookie. And then you look at all the superstar veterans that were in there. Nolan Ryan, Pete Rose. Just so many great players in that set. A lot of young superstars. Ryan Sandberg, Tony Gwynn. A lot of great players in that set. And it's still pretty cheap if you wanted to buy that set or try to complete it on your own. It's still pretty cheap to put together. But this Team USA Mark McGwire card, there's only 306 Gem Mint 10 cards in existence for PSA of this 1985 Topps Mark McGwire. It's very difficult to get in the 10. As a matter of fact, of all the cards sent in, it has a 0.5% gem rate. In other words, of all the cards sent in, only 0.5% of those came back as 10s. That's pretty low. Interestingly enough, there's even lower on the rest of the list. The top 87 sports cards, there's lower ones than 0.5%. For instance, the 1980 Rickey Henderson Topps card has a gem rate that's just 0.1%. It's the lowest. There's only 25 gem mint Rickey Henderson cards out there, PSA 10s out there. So that's the lowest on this list, at least. Number 5 on this list, 1986 Topps Traded Barry Bonds card. This is a pretty iconic card as well. Again, Not, you can't get this in packs, so it was only coming in the set. But what's interesting is his second year card, that iconic 1987 Topps wood grain design. That one is also on this top 87 graded cards list. Ken Griffey Jr.'s second year card in Topps is not on this list, which I thought that was interesting. Number 6, our first non-baseball card on this list, Michael Jordan 1990 Fleer rookie card. Now this card actually got a little boost during this the collecting boom of the past few years, because people were buying these 1990 Fleer boxes for cheap, like 25, 30, 50 bucks, opening them up, getting the Jordans, sending them in to get graded, and then flipping and selling those and making a ton of money. So the PSA got a boost from those, and that card in general is such a sweet, beautiful looking card that I think it's just one of Jordan's more iconic ones. And Jordan is the all-time most graded player, most graded athlete in PSA history. Over 1.1 million Michael Jordan cards have been graded by PSA. That's almost twice as many as the second athlete, Ken Griffey Jr. That's pretty crazy. And number 7, the 1993 Topps Derek Jeter card. A lot of Topps cards on this list, you'll notice. Now this draft pick card, absolutely, again, we're using the word iconic lock, but this is the top 15 most graded sports cards. There are going to be some iconic ones, so we're going to have to deal with that. This card, one of my all-time favorites. I would take this card, if not for value, looking at, like, if we just look at everything outside of value, I would take this card all day long over his 1993 SP card, which is a lot more valuable. But I would take this card. It's so much better looking. All right, number 8, we go right back to Ken Griffey Jr. This is his 1989 Donruss rated rookie card. Now, this is a little late to the party. It doesn't have the same panache, apparently. Not as many people collecting it, but I would submit to you that the fact that it has that rated rookie logo on there, if this came out now with licensing, with logos and all that good stuff, I do think that this would have been more popular than the other cards from the other manufacturers. Okay, so if you're doing the math, then you notice that 4 of the top 8 on this list are Ken Griffey Jr. cards. 5 of the top 27 cards on this list are Ken Griffey Jr. 6 of the top 33 are Ken Griffey Jr. cards. That's amazing. And yet Jordan still somehow has more slabs at PSA, graded at PSA, than Ken Griffey Jr. Yeah, so later on you'll see, but 1989 Score traded series, and then the 1989 Bowman series card also in this list. And the Bowman's interesting because it's an oversized card, and man, those things got beat up. People jamming them in the same card boxes as their other cards and getting protectors for them. What a pain in the butt. I'm glad they got rid of that immediately. Number 9, now this is the first one, more modern, ultra modern history, we'll say. 2019 Zion Williamson rookie card, Panini Prizm. Something that's really interesting here is over the 41,000 Zion rookie cards that were submitted, this card that were submitted to PSA, there were over 22,000 of them that came back as PSA 10s. So the card companies really started to tighten up their quality control and the centering, all the everything much better once these ultra modern cards came through. But that 54% gem rate, which means that 54% of the cards sent in came back as 10s, means that of all the cards graded from PSA, there are fewer that aren't 10s, less than 46% are not 10s, and there are more 10s out there. So if you have a non-10 Zion Williamson PSA card, you have a more rare card than the people that have the 10s. And it's kind of interesting too, because that means that there's so few dings and dents and bent corners and flaws and problems with those Zion Williamson cards. And yet, Zion Williamson is one of the most dinged up athletes in the NBA right now. He's always on injury reserve, so So at 22 years old, Zion is the youngest athlete on this top 15 list, but on the overall list, the top 100 or the top 87 athletes, it's actually Jason Dominguez, who's at 20 years old. He has 2 cards in this top 87 graded cards list. So go right back with number 10, go right back to the Panini Prizm Morant, this is one of my favorite all-time players. This guy is nuts. He plays with reckless abandon. But it's kind of interesting because these guys both get injured a lot, Zion and Ja. Are we gonna see these guys 10 years from now? Are they still gonna be playing at a high level? Or are they gonna be so banged up, kind of like a Blake Griffin kind of situation where they're just kind of a shell of what they used to be? I don't know. That's interesting. Morant drives the lane so much, and he's just not a big guy. It's going to be interesting to see if he can stay healthy. And Morant's gem rate for this card is 55%. It's the highest of all the cards in this top 15. All right, we're outside the top 10 now. The 11th most graded card, Luis Robert, the Topps base card. Now, what's interesting is this was kind of one of the big collecting boom cards that got sent in. 2020 American League Rookie of the Year runner-up to Kyle Lewis. What's interesting since then is that Luis Robert has only played, he's averaged about 86 games in the past 2 seasons, and he only has 36 career homers and 26 career steals. So we need him to stay healthy for these cards to gain value again. What's interesting too with this Luis Robert card is the Topps Chrome version is also on this top 87 list, and the Topps Chrome cards, the only two that are on this list, is Luis Roberts and Fernando Tatis Jr.'s Topps Chrome cards. All right, we go old school again. This is the 1982 Orioles Future Stars, the Topps card. Now, this is basically Cal Ripken Jr.'s rookie card. We'll just call it that. But this is 1982. This is the oldest card that's on this top 15 list. And of the top 87, the only two cards that are older than this card, 1980 Rickey Henderson and 1981 Joe Montana cards. That's it. Everything else is more recent than that. Number 13, Luka Dončić, his 2018 Panini Prizm card. This makes the list. Now, this is the first card of a non-American athlete on this list. This Slovenian is definitely one of the all-time best young players, and we'll see over his career if he's going to be one of the all-time best overall players. But for right now, he certainly looks like the guy that's going to be in the MVP conversation for the next 10 years at least. Number 14, we go to the first non-football, non-basketball, non-baseball, non-TCG card. Tiger Woods is the only athlete on this list that didn't play baseball, football, or basketball. And this is the only card from 1997 to 2017, that 21-year era. This is the only card from that era that's on this list. And number 15, the last card on our top 15, 1996 Topps base Kobe Bryant rookie card. Now, what's interesting is the Charlotte Hornets actually drafted Kobe, and they traded him to the Lakers. Can you imagine this card in a Charlotte Hornets uniform? I just don't see it. It just doesn't make sense. Now, this Kobe card is the only card on this top 15 of a player that is no longer living. Died in 2020 in a helicopter crash. And it's interesting because I think that has kind of affected the hobby the same way that Roberto Clemente's death has affected the hobby in baseball card collecting as well. Clemente and Kobe Bryant, both tragic deaths, both either at the end of their careers or just after the end of their careers. So I thought that was interesting. All right, we're going to go out now. We're going to look at the entire list. I'm going to show you the screen. I'll be down here in the corner. And we'll talk about this list from a wider perspective, go through some of the other players that are on this list. Okay, so here we're looking at the gemrate.com. This is their dashboard. This is their main homepage. You see the PSA grading trends is the first kind of thing that they dip into. Now this is different look than what they send you in the monthly newsletter. In the monthly newsletter, you actually get a lot of interesting stuff because it breaks down each grading company. And then this is how all the different cards that get sent to PSA. What drives me nuts is all the different versions of green. Can't we get some red? How about some yellow? Give me some of the yellow. All right. Then the category trends. This is over yesterday, the last 7 days, and the last 30 days. Baseball is still the highest sport, which is interesting because, baseball isn't the most popular sport right now. Football, and then maybe basketball after that, and then maybe baseball. And yet, in the collecting world, baseball still reigns supreme. I thought that was interesting. And then we scan down here. We got trending players and subjects. So this is, again, you have the graded all time, and then you have the graded last week. So all time, Jordan, #1. And it's interesting that even just grading last week, he's third among the most cards sent in. Third among the players with the most cards sent in. Julio Rodriguez right behind him. And he already has 73,000. Look down here. Where is it? Wander has 103,000. Got there a year before, and Julio Rodriguez is not too far behind. So that's that says a lot. And then we keep scanning down. See Bobby Witt there. A lot of TCG stuff. Mickey Mantle. 734 Mickey Mantle cards last week. Okay, so I'm going to scan down here. Trending sets per week. Bowman Chrome Prospects is the big one. And that makes sense. That came out not too long ago, and I believe that was another, let's see, that was not too long ago. And Topps Update, almost 21,000 cards sent in last week, which compared to 33,000, a lot of people love the Bowman Chrome Prospect. Getting those graded makes sense. It's their first card. And then trending cards, you see Julio. Let's go back up here. This past week, Julio Rodriguez was the top card sent in. Bobby Witt Jr. was the second baseball card, second most baseball card. Okay, so that, I just want to go back up to the top here. That was that page. Now, I want you to see this. You go to the player data. Click on this up here. Now, this gives you, you can click to see, or you can type in any player, and it'll tell you how many cards, show you all the information. Like, for instance, has Aaron Rodgers, we'll just leave it at Aaron Rodgers, already submitted there. So now it's grabbing the data. Takes a second. Has a little summary broken down. Aaron Rodgers, 18 seasons for the Packers, throw for this many yards. These are his awards. All right. So here we go. And it gives you his first cards. You can sort it by all these different things, filter stuff out, filter stuff. If you just want Topps cards, all that stuff. But and then it gives you the gem rate. So of the 3,000 Topps rookie cards sent in for Aaron Rodgers, 36% of them have been gem mint 10s. And then over here, the top cards of all time, that's where we get our information for this video. And I'm going to show you the spreadsheet that I built out of it to make it a little more palatable, a little prettier. Okay, so that's this right here. You can go through and have fun with that. But let's go over to the spreadsheet. So these are the top 15 graded sports cards of all time. But of course, I did the whole list. So we're looking at the top 87. They only go to 100, the top 100 graded cards of all time. And 13 of those are TCG, trading card games. All right, so you see here, I got that's the 15 we just went over. And then let me back up. So then after that, we got a lot more baseball. You can see over here, a lot more baseball. Jerry Rice, just barely, yeah, top 21, just barely missed. Shaq, Tony Gwynn right there. Trying to see ones that stand out as unusual. Let's see. LeBron James, the Barry Bonds update rookie, Derek Jeter SP. Now, there's only 21 of those have come back as PSA 10s out of 22,000. That's pretty crazy. It's that foil. Foil gets you. All right, so here we have RJ Barrett. Yeah, probably not somebody that should be in the top 100. Kyle Lewis. No. Emmitt Smith? Yes. Let's see. Hoops Jordan, SP Alex Rodriguez, 0.3% gem rate. And then the Fleer sticker for Jordan. And of course, Rui Hachimura. You gotta have Rui in there. That makes sense. Makes sense. Okay, so something I want to mention, a couple stats on this top 87 is that baseball actually owns 47 of these 87 spots on this top 100 or top 87. And then if you look at the era, there are no cards on here from before 1980. From 1980 to 1986, there's 16 of the 87 spots. But from the junk wax era, there's 36 spots, which is the most. From 1987 to 1993, there's the most cards on this list from that era. And then from 2018 to present, there's 31 spots. The second most cards that have been graded are from 2018 to now. And then finally, the lowest amount is from 1994 to 2017. That's why I mentioned the Tiger Woods. You saw the Alex Rodriguez, and you saw the Derek Jeter. Uh, just 5 spots in that grouping from 94 to 2017. So that's what we have. I thought I'd just share that with you and let you enjoy that. But make sure you sign up for um, their newsletter, because each month, about second or third each month, you get some really cool information that comes in, and it's helpful. So there you have it. All right, so there you have it. That's the top 87 graded sports cards of all time at PSA. So let me know in the comments how many you have. How many of these top 15 cards do you have in your? I missed a bunch. I'd love to have that Kobe, that Topps 1996 Kobe. I don't have. And remember, we're going to be doing this for basketball specifically, for baseball specifically, and also football. And of course, we're going to be doing a separate one altogether for just Michael Jordan cards. So whatever you do, make sure you have a happy hobby.